Because my table had been left out in the elements for its first few years of the use, I needed to replace the top. It had become very warped and all of the metal connections were pretty rusted. Most likely for normal use, you probably would never have to do this. I start by removing the tabletops and bringing them outside so I can use them as a pattern for my new pieces. Because the screws were so rusted, it was really difficult to get them off, and I eventually used the oscillating saw to remove them, which worked great. You can see here just how warped the top is. Again, that's not normal. It's because my table was out in the rain and snow. My fault. Because the screws were stripped, I used a nail to hammer out the pieces that were stuck inside. This is a piece of 3/4 inch MDF, and I'm using the original tabletop to trace and create a pattern for the new piece. This part's pretty silly. You'll see I have a screw instead of using a drill bit. You should use a drill bit to replicate the holes into the surface of the new tabletop. Okay, time to pull out the table saw and cut the ends off. These are just 90-degree cuts, so no angle here. I'm pretty sure you could get these cuts done at Home Depot if you don't have a table saw. Also, use a jigsaw or a circular saw. I am repeating this process with 2 tabletop pieces, so board 1 and board 2. Here I am adjusting the table saw to be at a 45-degree angle. This is the lip that will connect to the roller on the table. So creating that beveled edge is really going to allow the tabletop to get nice and close to the roller. Just using a jigsaw to round the corners here, which is not necessary, but I was trying to replicate the original tabletop. Right here you can get a better view of the beveled edge that goes into the roller. And after cleaning the table off, I am waterproofing it with Behr's waterproof coating. Okay, cool. It fits now to put the hardware on. I will tell you right now, I don't know much about these screws, but I bought the 1032 wing nuts and 1032 machine screws because that is what matched the ones that were already with the table. I used a 1/8 inch drill bit to drill my initial hole, and then I used a 3/8 inch drill bit to drill a little lip for the top of the screw to sit in so it can sit flush on the table. There we go. Okay, this part took me a little bit to figure out, but the best way to attach the hardware is to flip the table over and to put the screw in from the bottom, put the wing nut on top of the screw, hold the wing nut, and screw the screw into the wing nut because there's not enough space for the wing nut to actually do any turning. Wait until you have loosely fastened all 3 screws to tighten them completely so there's the wiggle room to attach everything. Okay, so flip the surface over and give it a good little smack to get the connections on either side of the table. And then you'll be able to flip up the side latches and secure the tabletop. Of course, we're going to repeat the process for side 2. I will say I absolutely cheaped out by using MDF instead of plywood, but if you've seen plywood prices lately, you'll understand why. I do think that MDF can last for a long time in the studio if cared for properly, and I'll probably have to waterproof it again over time. I don't know if this video is relevant to anyone, but thank you for watching.